Welcome to my 500 square foot studio apartment here in Seattle. I moved into this studio almost 3 years ago and I've been in love with it ever since. I had been dreaming about finding my dream apartment that I would live in by myself for the first time, and then it happened. And I decorated the shit out of it. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably think you've seen every square inch of this place because I obsessively post this apartment from every single angle you could possibly imagine, like obsessively. But in this apartment tour, you're gonna see parts of my studio that nobody online has seen before, including my walk-in closet. Yes, I said walk-in closet in a studio effing apartment. So if you're looking for inspiration on how to decorate a small space, specifically a studio apartment, but also how to incorporate your personality and your interests and your passion into your space, then you'll want to watch this video to the end. And if you want to learn more about how to decorate a studio apartment based on my experience decorating this place, you should definitely download my Studio Styling 101 workbook, which I will link to in the description below. It basically just walks you through how I did this. So let's get started. Let the tour commence. So this is my studio. So right off the bat, visitors are greeted by an angry Fiona Apple because first impressions are everything. To the right is my closet and to the left is my bathroom. We'll come back to those. Right after seeing Fiona Apple, you see the love of my life, Beck. And then you have the studio. You walk into the living room area, which is basically I used my couch, which is from West Elm. It's the part of the Urban collection. I use my couch as the primary divider. One of the biggest questions I get when it comes to my studio apartment is how to create a sense of separation of space. And in the case of my apartment, my couch does that for me. My couch, it's a pretty large couch for the space, and it on its own acts as the divider. In keeping with the music theme of the apartment, you have some Fleetwood Mac lyrics up there. I ordered those from Stay Classic blog, and then these are two pieces that I ordered from Etsy. I will link to those in the description. And then you also have one of my favorite garbage songs, I'm Only Happy When It Rains, which is kind of a good theme song for me. I love the rain. I'm a Seattle girl. I even have a tattoo that says Nothing But the Rain, which is a Battlestar Galactica line. I'm like really cool. And then right above I'm Only Happy When It Rains is some really beautiful wall art that I ordered from Society 6. These are by the artist Tortoise Kema. I'll link to him in the description below as well. His art is so beautiful. It's very gloomy and moody, and it's exactly the kind of visual that I love in my space. I like things to have a little bit of a dark edge to them. And I have my little coffee table right here, which is actually technically an accent table from Target, but the space is so tiny that a normal size coffee table would be a little too big. So I just use a little accent table and it works just fine. You'll notice as we continue the studio tour that I have Death Note books sort of throughout the space. Death Note is one of my favorite animes, and so I have the manga kind of littered throughout the space because it looks really cool. And like I said, I like to give a little bit of a dark edge in my space. And then I also have 1000 record covers as well, which goes along with the music theme. Speaking of music themed coffee table books, I have some more over here. We have Garbage, Kurt Cobain, Jim Morrison, and then randomly a Zelda, the Zelda Hyrule Historia book. Basically, I am a huge believer in using coffee table books or any other kinds of accessories to express the things that you're into, the things that you geek out about. That's really what Moda Misfit is all about, is embracing the things that make you unique, the things that you love, the things you geek out about, and having those be the basis of your style. And again, here is the living room area. I am a huge fan of piling on throw pillows. I'm a big believer in cozy living. and I like to feel like I'm being hugged by my couch, basically. And then I also have some more manga worked into my space. This is from one of my favorite animes, One Piece, and these are pieces of the manga sort of splashed together to make a throw pillow. Again, like, I love a nice little touch of geekery in a space. That's really how you show your personality. Now let's head on over to the bedroom area, which is just a couple feet away. Once again, you have a continuation of the music theme in my apartment. These are sound wave prints that I ordered from Amazon. They're by a company called Cumberland Coast. They are sound waves of 3 of my favorite songs. Going to California by Led Zeppelin, All Along the Watchtower, the Jimi Hendrix version, and Strawberry Fields Forever. I love incorporating pieces of art that really show what I'm passionate about and the things that actually have had a profound impact on me. So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're shopping for art. I know it's super overwhelming, but at the end of the day, you can really narrow your search just by looking for things that embody something that you are passionate about and that you geek out about. That's such a good place to start when you're searching for art. My headboard is another piece that's one of my favorite things in this apartment, and I just love the visual impact that it makes on the space. It pretty much establishes the rustic style right off the bat. So that's another piece of advice I have is when you want to demonstrate your style and make it super clear, you can find basically a hero piece, which is a piece that, like, in one fell swoop, communicates the style that you're going for. And then I have this really pretty little corner here. Probably the most important part of it is my Triforce, which, like I said earlier, I have little touches of The Legend of Zelda in my apartment because I'm a huge fan of The Legend of Zelda. It's kind of been an obsession for me for years. Any of my fellow Zelda fans will know that that is the Triforce from The Legend of Zelda. So again, I like to add little cheeky elements of geekery throughout the space. Speaking of which, we have some more Death Note manga right here. And of course, plenty of candles because I am trying to romance you here. I have my Taylor Momsen little mini canvas, which a friend of mine had made for me years ago, and I absolutely love it. I love Taylor Momsen. She's the lead singer of The Pretty Reckless, which is one of my favorite bands. And so again, you have more music. I'm basically hitting you over the head with music in this apartment, which is not something I am mad about. And speaking of more music imagery, this is one of my favorite singer-songwriters, Poe. I basically worship her, hence the pseudo altar that I've built for her, which really is an accident. I'm not trying to make an altar to anyone, but it kind of just looks like that, and I'm here for it, basically. And from here, we'll go over to my little sitting nook, which I shouldn't even call it my sitting nook because it's Hilo's sitting nook. This is her chair. She's the only one who sits here, and this is basically her throne. And then we have my little workspace. And I like to joke that my workspace is more romantic than my bedroom area because I really went full like French boudoir vintage style over here. This is a wall hanging from Society 6, which I will link to in the description. And then the wall panels hanging behind it, believe it or not, you're not going to believe me when I tell you this. They are from the Container Store, and they were $9.99 for a pack of 4 panels. And then I just have some journals and planners here. I'm a planner and journal addict. I don't really want to talk about it. And then I also have this map of Manhattan, which I got at Target years ago. I lived in New York for 6 years, and I can actually point out exactly where I lived on this map. I was on 13th Street and 2nd, so that's where I lived in New York. I have my piano here. I've had this keyboard since I was 8 years old when I first started piano lessons. And up here, I have a really, really cool photograph. That is my Aunt Flo. She was a singer and dancer and actress in the 1930s. Very glamorous, very 1930s Hollywood. Love it. Now, here's one thing about, hi. Here's one thing about my studio, and prepare yourself because this one's a jaw dropper. I have 2 closets. And this is one of them. And it's nothing terribly exciting. It's not, it's a pretty average sized closet. But I will now take you to my walk-in closet. Yes, you heard me right. I have a walk-in closet and I live in a studio. I don't know how I got so lucky. Here it is. The main question that I get asked about living in a studio and owning a cat is, where do I put my litter box? And the answer is right there. I just have it tucked away, and I like to put stuff on top of it just to make it even more hidden. So there's the answer to probably one of my most frequently asked questions, and that is, where do I keep my litter box? So there you have it. This is my mythical walk-in closet in my studio apartment, probably one of the biggest bonus features of the space. Then right over here, I have my bathroom. It's just a typical tiny studio bathroom, but I like to think that I've made it look pretty. Right over here, I have a map of LA. I lived in LA for 5 years, so it has a special piece of my heart. The inside of my medicine cabinet just has your basic stuff. Dry shampoo. I pretty much live and die by the stuff. What millennial girl doesn't? And that is pretty much it. Didn't take long for my bathroom. So the last space I want to show you in my studio apartment is my kitchen. This is my tiny 42 square foot kitchen. I actually did a full video on how I decorated my tiny kitchen, which you can find in the description. I will link to it. It basically just walks you through how I went about making this space, this tiny, tiny little cavern of a kitchen, feel more stylish and more like me. So click the link in the description below and you can watch that. That is my tiny 42 square foot kitchen for you right there. So that is my little 500 square foot studio apartment. It's basically a bunch of music, video game, and anime geekery all rolled up into a stylish package. And that is the most important thing. If you walk away with anything from watching my videos or reading my blog, it's that the thing that matters for your decor is to express what you love. If nothing else, just include things that are personal to you, things that mean something to you, and things that light you up. If you just do that, you have a stylish space. So that's it. That's my studio apartment tour. Thank you for cozying up with me. My hope is that your biggest takeaway is that interior decor is about so much more than making things pretty. It's about making things you, having your interests, your loves, your passions reflected in your decor. Those are the things that will actually make your apartment feel like a home. For daily posts from here in my studio apartment, follow me on Instagram at moda.misfit. And if you like this video, hit subscribe. You know how to do it. But don't just subscribe, also hit that little bell to be notified when a new episode goes up every week. And I really want you to remember, your apartment is destined to be pretty, and you are pretty powerful.